All right, so it looks like the podcast that Ethan Klein does with Hasan Piker, leftovers, it looks like that's probably done at this point because they've been having a lot of disagreements recently, and now most of Hasan's audience absolutely despises Ethan, which is no surprise. I mean, it was only a matter of time till they turned on him. Like, starting a political podcast with Hasan Piker, I think most people could have predicted that's not going to end well. And it's funny, I remember the first episode, Ethan's talking about how they're going to be bringing justice to Republicans. Like, they should be worried that him and Hasan are teaming up together. But in reality, the only person that should have been worried about this podcast was Ethan, because Hasan has to have one of the most toxic fan bases. And Ethan, he's far left, but he is nowhere near far left enough for those people. Like, things started to go south when Ethan and Hasan were having a debate about socialism, and I guess Hasan's fans weren't happy because Ethan is too much of a capitalist, and I guess he was getting a lot of comments about it, so he addressed it and he said, "Please do not take these political conversations so personally. Being called a class traitor 1,000 times because I'm only a social democrat and not a full socialist makes me want to not have these conversations anymore," which is probably the least productive outcome. So the fact that Ethan made a post about this is not a good sign, because it shows he does not know what he got himself into. Like, when he decided to do a podcast with Hasan, he should have realized this is what he's signing up for. I think anybody could have told you this is going to be pretty much the bare minimum you're going to get in terms of criticism from his audience. And then Ethan responding to this just makes it so much worse. I don't know what he was thinking, because it shows it's getting to him, and then it makes the audience aware that it's getting to him, and they'll want to criticize him even more. Like, someone posted this to his subreddit, and I'd say 95% of the comments are criticizing him and talking about how he sounds like a baby and he's the one taking things personally. And I agree, because again, what did he expect with this podcast? I mean, this is what he's asking for, and apparently he wanted to talk about this, so he shouldn't be very surprised when all his socialist fans start calling him a class traitor. And it's crazy because so many people warned him about this and saw something like this coming. I mean, even his own fans, a lot of them are telling him getting into politics is not the best idea, especially getting into politics by starting a show with one of the most radical left-wing Twitch streamers who has one of the most toxic fan bases. Obviously, that made things 100 times worse. Like, getting into politics is one thing, but then going about it the way Ethan did is a recipe for disaster, especially since he is obviously not very good at handling criticism and he reads a lot of negative comments. So I don't know why he'd want to put himself through this. I guess he just didn't think about it too much. And it's crazy because he's been on the internet long enough. You'd think he'd know better, but I guess he just figured him and Hasan would disagree on some things and the audience would understand their differences and just appreciate the conversation, which, I'm sure some people do, don't get me wrong. But Ethan, again, starting this podcast, he should have understood that he is going to get a lot of criticism and he better be able to handle it. But as you saw from that Instagram post, he clearly was not prepared, and things were about to get so much worse with the conflict in the Middle East starting back up again, because pretty much everybody Ethan has associated himself with is pro-Palestine and has no sympathy for Israel, which again is no surprise, but this was definitely a wake-up call for Ethan, especially after he decided to go on Hasan's Discord server, and of course everybody on there was basically praising the attacks.
Hasan's Discord, and what I saw in that Discord was near universal praise for Hamas, near universal saying people deserved it, people near universally calling me a Zionist pig, mass murdering, genocidal freak. And if you want to know the truth, that shit fucked me up seeing that Discord, because it made me realize that a lot of these people are watching this show, and it frankly disturbed me. Listen, everyone in my periphery, everyone in my circle, all the leftist people that I watch, that I'm part of, that watch this show, because I consider myself a part of that side, are all pretty much uncritically accepting of Hamas propaganda and uncaring about the rewriting of history right before our fucking eyes about this stuff. So I'm not seeing a lot of people, even though you might look at the popular media and say, everybody's supporting Israel. The popular media's defense of Israel is cartoonishly dumb and evil. Burn them all to the ground. They have a right to defend themselves. Bomb Gaza, like psycho shit. Okay. Whole conflict anymore, really, at all, ever. And I'm frankly also thinking about putting something that I need to discuss with Hasan, but I do feel like I'm probably going to pause leftovers for the time being. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's it. And it sounds like a lot of y'all don't want me to talk about it either.
And of course he did continue talking about it, and things just got worse from here. But it's funny seeing him realize the audience he's attracted, and he basically went out of his way to get. I mean, he did not need to start that podcast. He could have just stuck to making fun, goofy content. But he chose to work with a guy who's known for saying America deserved 9/11. So he shouldn't be that surprised when his audience is cheering on a terror attack in Israel. So this is right on par for Hasan's audience. And Ethan, he also got into it with one of Hasan's Discord moderators. I guess he unfollowed her and she got all upset about it. So Ethan addressed it, and it was pretty awkward because not only is this Hasan's moderator, but she's also good friends with Ethan's employees. But he goes on to call her a scumbag.
That's why I followed her.
She was a mod for Hasan, and me and Lena are friends with her as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she seems like a nice person, but they don't care about 1,500 civilians being mass murdered. Yes, right. Let's not even pretend that didn't happen, you scumbags. Okay, and then we don't know. 40 babies were definitely killed. Maybe only one was beheaded. I don't know if there was more than that. So maybe it's not as bad as we think. Is that right, Frogan? Scumbag. I'm sorry. Scumbag. What are you doing for peace? Exactly. Except coming out here and virtue signaling how fucking left you are, how woke you are, how much you care for peace or the Palestinian people more than anyone else.
It's funny hearing Ethan calling somebody out for trying to virtue signal how left they are, because that's all he's been doing for the past few years. And everybody is trying to tell him it's a bad route to go down, because it's like you're either 100% with them or you're against them. And like Jordan Peterson said, you're going to make a mistake and they will devour you, which is what's going on now. Like, Ethan's finally come full circle. You know, he spent the last few years trying to separate himself from Jordan Peterson and his old content by virtue signaling and proving how woke he is. But now after this, he's just back at the beginning and everybody thinks he's racist again. And he's getting lumped in with Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson and all those people. Like, I thought this tweet was hilarious. This person said, "Damn, it's so funny that Ethan Klein made a whole left-leaning turnaround and apologized and acted like he was making up for prior behavior just to become a top-tier Islamophobic racist freak." And a lot of people are saying stuff similar to this. He is just getting destroyed on Twitter and Reddit and Hasan's Discord, obviously, which is hilarious because he's still very progressive when it comes to this issue, especially for somebody that has lived in Israel and his wife is from Israel and I would imagine still has family over there. But Ethan still criticizes Israel a lot, and he also donated money to a Palestinian relief fund.
The IDF is a genocidal criminal institution that Netanyahu should be tried for war crimes. He should immediately resign. I can tell you that the West Bank settlements are basically an act of war. And I don't really believe even that settlers are civilians in the same way that the people who were murdered are. I can tell you that what Israel's doing in Gaza is as evil as it can be, as evil can be.
You donated to the Palestinian Relief Fund as well, and we got a notice from ANERA. They're talking to all the other organizations as well, but we got a notice from ANERA that some of those funds have already made its way into medical supplies and food in Gaza. So that's great.
That is awesome. I've been listening to your stream for like an hour. I got a lot of from Israelis for donating because they're like, oh, it's just going to go to Hamas. But, I looked into the charity you picked and it is really highly rated. So I'm like, I don't really think this.
But none of that matters because, like I said, you're either with them all the way or you're against them. And since they've already been calling out Ben Shapiro and all those people for being racist and Islamophobic and all that stuff for the past 5 years, it's just old at this point and it really has no impact. Ben Shapiro is not going to care if you go on Twitter and call him a Zionist. But you know who does care? Ethan Klein. And that's definitely what Hasan's audience realized, you know, because they can actually get a reaction out of him in real time. You could see him reading comments, and on Hasan's stream, he starts to lose it. But this is what Hasan's audience feeds off of, you know, trying to cancel somebody or make them feel like shit by calling them a racist. That's what they're here for, you know, and everybody else, like all the right-wing people, none of that matters to them. They've already been called everything in the book, so it doesn't have any kind of impact. But Ethan, as a progressive, one of the worst things you could do is call them a racist, especially when it's coming from people you thought were your own fans or you thought were on your side. And towards the end of Hasan's stream, Ethan starts to read all the comments, and he starts like almost crying.
The reason why people feel the way that they do is because after a certain point,
what if I said it's bad faith?
I think you want me to be totally honest.
Yeah.
No kitty gloves. Okay.
The fuck, bro.
No,
that insinuation is so stupid, man.
No. Please don't get mad at me. I'm gonna be 100%.
Moron. You just talk down to me the whole time.
No, absolutely not. I think you're a very smart person, but you do get a little emotional on this issue.
Kitty gloves that's on. Tell me. Can you do you care that your chat is calling me racist? Do you make any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that at all?
I have not looked at my chat at all. But
I just opened it. But don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about what your audience says about me?
There's 32,000 people in here right now. The reason why people are saying that is because of the conflations that you made, Ethan. That's why, I can't stop people from viewing you a certain way if you're going to make these comparisons that they've heard from actually racist people. You literally implied that Jewish Voice for Peace would be akin to a capo in this circumstance.
Oh, you are so bad faith for saying that, and fuck you for even putting that out in the world. That was not my point.
Made this comparison.
My point was that you can find anybody to defend anything. That was my point.
You also made a comparison that this slogan is akin to the swastika changed over the course of its trajectory as a symbol for Nazi Germany. And then also on top of that stated that the Confederate flag means something different to the Southern folk that want to promote heritage, not hate. Those people, when they say that, are cynically saying heritage, not hate. It doesn't mean slavery to me. Those people are in the wrong. These people that are saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, are not in the wrong. They're in the right. That's the major difference. They are morally righteous. That's why a better comparison would still be to make a comparison to Black Lives Matter in the way that some white people foresee or perceive Black Lives Matter. And if I'm not going to listen to what white people who are against Black Lives Matter have to say about the slogan itself, then why would I listen to people who are defending Israel on what this slogan means? Because the broadest majority of people who consider this to be an anti-Semitic slogan are, in my opinion, deploying it cynically. Not you.
By the way, I'm not even defending I'm not even I'm just trying to tell you guys how it feels. And I'm fucking shocked that you don't care that people in your chat are saying, who the is this child, cold, arrogant,
Ethan, I love you, but there's only so much I can do.
How can you be surprised when your Discord is literally full of
Ethan, I love you, but there's only so much I can do if you're making that argument. You know that, right? At a certain point, you're an adult, and the words that you're saying are going to be perceived by people in a certain way. I can't constantly tell my community to shut the fuck up, which I have, and I think they should. But at the end of the day, it's because I know you personally, and I think your heart is in the right place. But they don't know, so it's hard. It's hard for people to view what you're saying beyond your words. I'm just telling you the
perspective. You disagree. That's it. I mean, what the fuck do you want from me?
Okay, but do you get where I'm coming from? That's why I'm trying to
understand your analysis, dude.
Okay,
I understand your analysis.
I don't want my community to hurt your feelings. I don't want your feelings to be hurt either.
They're not hurting my feelings. They're monsters. They're psychotic.
I think you're a good
not
person.
All of them, but there are a lot of them, and you don't seem to care about moderating it at all.
That's not true.
Whereas when you're on my show, we really do care about what people say about you on Discord and chat, and we moderate it to keep a good environment. But you don't seem to fucking care about
There's no way I can shut off my chat. I mean, I can put it in email.
And I'm not a fucking radical Jew. I'm not even a religious Jew.
No,
I have no stake in the game, and this is coming from.
I know.
And it's crazy because you could tell Hasan is holding back here. You know, if this were anybody else, he'd be going off on them, calling them a racist, Zionist piece of shit. And it's funny, Ethan's all surprised by the chat and Hasan's Discord because, I mean, Hasan thinks all the same stuff they do. But I think Ethan's finally slowly starting to realize that. Like, Hasan, if you weren't friends with Ethan, he'd be going so much harder on him here. You know, like, whenever he responds to somebody in the chat that he disagrees with, he flips out.
You fucking stupid? Do you think the Israeli state was just like peacefully coexisting, and then these guys came in with fucking gliders out of nowhere? Don't say fuck off, dude. They didn't deserve it, you fucking idiot. My goal is solutions. Your goal is the continuation of violence. You want way more than 260 people dying. You want every single Palestinian to be fucking executed ruthlessly in the streets so that you can build another fucking theme park in Gaza. You fucking baying pig. You fucking bloodthirsty, violent pig dog. Suck my
Actually, you know what? Go listen to Hasan. People say, I need to go listen to Hasan. This is bullshit. Please, go listen to Hasan. Who, by the way, yells at people in chat, calls them Zionist genocidal monsters for suggesting that the hospital wasn't bombed, okay, by the IDF, which is the same fucking thing the Hasan's fans come and tell me. So, that. The PLO is...
Yeah, so that's more of the reaction you'd expect from Hasan, but he somehow manages to stay very civil when he's talking to Ethan. I don't know how he does it, because Ethan's usually pretty worked up, but I guess maybe he figures Ethan's getting enough shit from his audience or something, I don't know. But it's funny that Ethan's complaining about the chat and he wants Hasan to moderate it, and Hasan's basically like, there's nothing I can do, because Hasan basically said the same thing Ethan's saying to XQC, and he's calling him a shitty friend because he wouldn't moderate his chat when they're talking shit about him.
Over random dumb shit and bringing my name up for no fucking reason. And I thought that you were just allowing that shit to run rampant in your chat, and I thought that was fucked up, especially as someone who thought we were friends. I think that's a reasonable expectation for someone who you consider to be a friend.
Yeah, so by Hasan's own definition, he's pretty much a shitty friend. But again, Ethan, what does he expect from these people? Like, you chose to associate with this audience. You didn't need to. You could have just stayed making fun content. But now he's pretty much just backed into a corner. And eventually, I think Hasan's audience is going to beat him into submission. He's going to have to, like, apologize or something. Or maybe he's just done talking about politics. I think that is probably the best move. Like, I'd hope he finally learned his lesson after all this. But we'll see. And let me know what you guys think about it all down in the comment section. And then make sure you check out my Patreon account. There's a ton of extra content on there that's only available on there. There's probably over 40 videos at this point. Like, if you want to hear about the time Ethan Klein actually gave me a shout out and talked about how he's a fan of my channel, it's just too bad he doesn't listen to what I have to say about him, because he probably could have avoided all this. But if you want to hear about that, or the downfall of Milo Yiannopoulos, or the degeneracy of Ari Shaffir, or the degeneracy of Adam 22, or if you want to hear about some really cringy Joe Rogan Experience episodes, like one with Amy Schumer, if you want to hear about any of that, make sure you go check it out. I'll put a link in the description, and then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video. Alright, so it's been about 4 years since Chris D'Elia was first canceled, and he's basically been stuck in purgatory ever since, especially because he got canceled again last year. But him and Brian Callen are kind of just stuck with each other now, even though at least Brian can still get on the Joe Rogan Experience and some other pretty big podcasts. Like with Chris, I don't know if I've seen him make any podcast appearances other than No Jumper, but that's not helping him at all. Same thing with that interview he did last year with Soft White Underbelly. That was just really strange. But other than that, it seems like the only people that will really work with him are Brian Callen, of course, and Brendan Schaub, which has got to be tough for Chris to handle, considering how well his career was going before he got canceled. But I think it's good for him. You know, being stuck doing a podcast with Brendan Schaub has to be a humbling experience for him, and it's hilarious to watch. Like, definitely the best part of it is when Brendan starts annoying Chris.
Not liking icing as a kid is like not eating the pizza as an adult.
No, well,
facts.
No, it's
Nick.
not. No, it's not, because I wasn't.
Regular Nick's bringing facts.
Because I
That's
wasn't.
exactly what it's like. We're all having an icing party. You're over there like, do you have any sushi?
Because
at 7,
dude, when I don't talk, you don't talk, and then I go to talk, and then you talk.
I go. It's the icing.
I wait.
Yeah.
And then I go, and he goes,
Yeah, go. Yeah.
And then I'm like,
it's like
I give you. I wait to give you a chance to talk.
I don't want to go there.
Don't use it.
I don't want to go there. That's not how I work. Now go.
It's unbelievable. It wasn't a thing.
And I think this should be the punishment for every canceled celebrity doing a podcast with Brendan Schaub or Steven Crowder or both in Brian Callen's case. Like, I don't know how he did it, but I think if someone wants to make a comeback after getting canceled, you got to do your time over at Thick Boy Studios. You know, it's clearly not easy. And I think what else Chris struggles with here is just realizing and being reminded, like, damn, this is my career now. You know, whenever Brendan gets on his nerves, I'm sure he starts to think about that, and it just makes it even worse. Even though it's funny, because Brendan did Chris a favor by bringing him onto the podcast, since it was after he got canceled and nobody wanted to work with him. You know, it's a risky move. And the podcast was still king of the sting at the time. Theo Vaughn was on there, so it was getting views. So Brendan didn't really need Chris at all at the time, but now he kind of does. I mean, they kind of just need each other, which is probably tough for Chris to accept because he has a tough time dealing with Brendan.
It was like a jazz song, but it was like in the top 40.
Noah Jones or something like that?
Yes!
Nora Jones, dude.
Nora Jones.
You got it.
CT my ass. That's a good poll, right? Noah Jones? When's the last time you said
Nora. It's Nora because it's a woman, not Noah. But
I said it was a girl.
No, him. He said
no. I said it's a girl.
I know, but you keep saying Noah Jones. Noah is a male's name.
No, I know.
Nora is a woman's name.
Oh, but did you guess it right?
Yeah, I did. After you said no, I said Nora Jones.
I said it.
Yeah, so I got it right. You got it wrong.
No, I got it right. You didn't even know the name.
I know who Nora Jones is. I know that. You said Noah Jones. That's a man somewhere.
No, I didn't. She's still doing music?
I don't fucking... Oh, dude, I don't know.
Probably not, right?
And Chris just doesn't have the patience for Brendan like Brian Callen does. I mean, somehow he never really gets annoyed with Brendan, but I think it's probably because he's just used to Brendan. You know, he's been doing the podcast with him for over a decade at this point, and I think Brian's more accepting of the position he's in. But Chris, on the other hand, I think he still struggles with that and the fact that he doesn't have much else going on in his career. So also sometimes during the podcast, Chris will start to lose it and he just randomly yells in frustration. It's like Brendan is torturing him or something. It's hilarious. I mean, if Brendan were smart, he'd put together compilations of this shit. I mean, I could watch this all day.
But not call it Snow White.
No, but it's like there's nothing wrong with like... we like this.
They should have called her Snow Brown, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Snow Black.
That could have been cool.
Snow Brown. That's what I said.
Snow Brown.
Snow Black.
Snow Brown is better. Don't make the joke worse by tagging it worse.
Well, no, you want Snow Black.
Why?
Because
explain why.
Yeah. Let's hear this.
Why? Because you want views, right?
Yeah.
Snow Black, like it's exaggerated. Brown, that could be anything. Is she Indian?
But that's why it's Snow Brown. You don't know what she is. Oh, dude.
We want black.
No, I want snow mixed.
What city are you in? Or what town, city, whatever, state?
Austin, Texas.
Oh. Yeah. Longhorn in the background. Yeah, it's Austin. Yeah, they got the Longhorn in the background. You're not a detective, huh?
Nope. But he could be from there and still have that.
Nah, that'd be weird.
Oh, yeah, because people from Texas don't advertise.
If he's in like
Texas.
Miami and has a Longhorn hanging on the back, that'd be fucking
bro,
weird.
He could be somewhere else in Texas. God damn it, dude. Could be Montana.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's the move.
Yeah,
if you're going to Florida, it's going to take a hot second.
Yeah, stop saying hot second. But yeah, so you go to... Dude, this is... Yeah, is shit weirder this episode than usual? Because this is odd. I'm just like so fucking...
I like all this shit.
I'm going to be driving home just like this.
Yeah, man. She's like, no more hanging out with Brendan. He drops too much fucking facts on your ass.
If she said, baby, you can't hang out with Brendan anymore. He drops too many facts on your ass. I would jump off of a building.
And if this is what every episode was like, I think I'd actually tune into this show every week just to see Chris being tortured by Brendan. And, you know, also, of course, Brendan is known to have trouble pronouncing words correctly, and he'll just get names wrong sometimes. And when it happens on The Fighter and the Kid, Brian never really makes a big deal about it. You know, if anything, he'll just quickly correct him and move on. But, of course, Chris gets annoyed by it, and he can't let it slide, and he always has to call Brendan out on it.
What happened before?
How did we get here? Call Sal?
I always have been saying that. It's Saul, but I've always been saying that. Better call Sal?
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Oh, we got the grammar
No, it's not
police
the grammar.
over here.
It's the way. Listen, dude. Let
You
me
come back from Australia.
This
You
is
think
like
you're
we have
better
to
than
say it
this?
the way he wants.
Oh, I know.
I don't know.
Wow, man, he's a good actor.
Oh, does he beat British in it and stuff?
I don't know.
Oh wow, this guy just saying shit, huh?
Oh, he's an American history.
People were
King and
literally.
Queens. The Queen was bad as fuck.
Who?
And King and Queen. Back
King,
then,
what's the name of the show?
King and Queens.
That's the name of the show.
Are you talking about King of Queens?
Yes.
Completely different show.
Yeah.
King and Queen.
You're talking about.
That's a gay edition.
Yeah.
She was bad back
You're like
then.
an old. You know
Who
what?
was
You're like
bad?
an old man, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
Who
like
you
an old
fucked up?
man.
Who was bad?
She was hot.
Leah Remini.
Married to the fat guy.
That's fine. She was pretty, but you're talking
Back
about.
then.
And things aren't going much better over on Chris's own podcast. Like recently he had his wife on, which is crazy she's still with him after everything he's put her through. And it's crazy she'd want to be on his podcast. But she brings up sex workers or the sex industry. And of course that gets really awkward. And immediately Chris is like, I need to get out of this conversation. And then at the end of it, he starts talking about his addiction a little bit. And it's hilarious with his wife right there. He talks about how whenever he meets a girl, the first thing he thinks of is, would I have sex with her? Which, I mean, I guess at this point, his wife is definitely aware of. But when he brings this up, he does say he had a problem. So he kind of acts like he's over it. But, you know, I doubt it. Like he said that after the first time he got canceled too. And then everything came out last year and it turned out not much has changed. But I guess we'll see. You know, if he is still doing this shit, he's just asking for trouble and it's probably all going to come out once again. So hopefully he just learned his lesson at this point and figured out it's not worth it.
You know, did you come prepared or did you want to say that?
Yeah, I want to talk about the sex industry.
Dude. Everyone turn this off.
This is
a private conversation with me.
This is what I've been thinking really deeply about.
Oh, God.
So we have this giant sex industry,
Check,
right?
please.
And obviously women are a part of it in the sense that men are paying women to get sexual favors.
Check, please.
Men are paying men to get sexual favors.
Check, please.
But here's the thing. Women just straight up don't participate in the sex industry in terms of being like the customer. Women are just like going on Skid Row like night after night because they can't stop and like getting guys to like sleep with them. They just don't. But isn't that crazy that there's this huge
That was a good dinner, huh? Yeah. Check, please.
But you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, okay, see it. Okay, honey.
Babe, I would think that you would think this is really interesting.
Let's have some breakfast. That's how far gone this conversation is. And I said, man, it's crazy how much, like, I think about sex all the time, huh? and isn't that crazy that we do that? And he said, yeah. And I was like, you think about sex all the time? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, so like if you meet a woman, you don't think of her as like, look, I know she's a person, but also you're judging her looks. And he's like, no, not right away. And I was like, I'm sorry. And he was like, yeah, I don't do. I was like, so you don't immediately think, I wonder if I'd have sex with that woman when you meet her? And he said, no. And I was like, I'm sorry. And
he's such a good guy.
That was when I realized that, well, first of all, number one, I had a problem. And number two,
and he said that was over 10 years ago. He realized he had a problem, but he still let it destroy his life. But at least his wife is still with him, I guess. You know, that's good. He should be thankful for that. And also for Brendan sticking by him too. But I don't think he appreciates that as much. Mostly because he's probably just frustrated with where he's at in his career. But I don't see anybody else really giving him opportunities. And I mean, most people won't even have him as a guest on their podcast. So he should give Brendan some credit there. But let me know what you guys think about it all down in the comments. And then make sure you go check out my Patreon account. I've been talking a lot about Kill Tony over there. There's a lot going on with that show. And David Lucas, he's been embarrassing himself on there recently. So if you're interested in that, or the time Brendan Schaub accidentally exposed Joe Rogan, or some of the cringiest moments from Joe Rogan's podcast, some of the older moments that I'm sure most people aren't familiar with, or Tim Dillon versus Anthony Jeselnik, or Tim Dillon versus Whitney Cummings, there's a ton of stuff on there. There are over 80 videos. There's a lot to go through. Make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description.